I'm searching for the truth. I want to know the truth behind my daughters.
She was a wonderful person. She was kind-hearted.
Yes, the fingers and teeth were removed.
When she smiled and when she laughed, she had a way to make that
Who killed her and why?
The following stories tell the tale of stunning models who lost their lives in tragic ways. Radha Atif, known as the girl with the blue eyes, was a Maldivian Vogue model. Not only was she beautiful, but she was smart and had a lot of intelligence and was determined to have a career in medicine.
She wants to take care of people.
Fits in with her caring personality.
Yes.
She was attending college in Bangladesh and was projected to have a very successful career. But all of that came crashing down when she was found dead in her dorm room. She was just 21 years old. While police claimed she ended her life, there were signs that led others to believe that she had been murdered. Her grief-stricken family was left behind to piece together what happened. Radha's father, Mohammed Atif, was convinced that his daughter was murdered. He didn't believe that she would hang herself and insisted that someone had staged her suicide. He hired a lawyer and began to fight for answers.
I could not believe that she would hang herself or she would herself or anything like that. I know something must have gone really wrong there.
Radha had been found hanging from a ceiling fan with a scarf around her neck. Her room was in great disarray. Strangely, marks that were found around the model's neck didn't necessarily match up with the types of marks the scarf would have left. Additionally, when the fan was examined, it didn't seem to be strong enough to have held up her body without breaking. Fueled by this evidence, Mohammed was more convinced than ever that he had been correct in his suspicions. He was going to find the truth of what happened and why. Mohammed believed that his daughter was killed, and he was on a mission to find out who did it.
I'm searching for the truth. I want to know the truth behind my daughter's death. Who killed her and why?
Radha had been dating a man named Shahi Ghani. He was Maldivian like her and was studying molecular biology. Law enforcement was able to find out many details regarding their relationship by reading through thousands of pages of messages they had shared on both WhatsApp and Facebook. The couple appeared to be very serious about one another and spent 2 weeks together traveling in India before she passed away. Radha was deeply in love with him and thought that he was the man she was meant to be with forever. However, on the night before she died, she was distraught upon finding out that he had been cheating on her. She managed to get access to his Facebook messages and realized that he had been talking to someone else. Radha was absolutely heartbroken and betrayed. She couldn't bear the thought that through everything they had been through, the man she loved would do this to her. She was desperate to end her pain, and not long after discovering what had been going on behind her back, she swallowed sedative pills. Soon after regretting this decision, she checked herself into the campus hospital where she was treated. It's not clear what she told doctors at the hospital, if she revealed her original purpose for taking the pills. Radha was treated swiftly and released. In the early mornings of the next day, March 29, 2017, Radha confronted Shahai about his infidelity. She made it clear to him how much his cheating on her destroyed her. She also doubted his love for her in the first place. "I only loved you. You never loved me. You're a terrible human being. You've done irreparable damage. There's nothing left. I feel hollow. I feel dead." Radha's last text was also to him. She wrote, "You killed me," before going on to take her own life. These messages confirmed to law enforcement that it was her boyfriend's infidelity that caused her to take her own life. These messages clearly confirmed that she couldn't endure his cheating, an officer wrote on the final report. Despite police claims, Radha's father refused to believe that his daughter would do such a thing. He's not alone, and many still believe that the model died as a result of a homicide. Some believe a jealous classmate was behind the killing. Still, Mohammed clings onto the signs pointing towards the fact that his daughter's death was not the result of cheating. He believes that the marks around her neck could not have been the result of the soft scarf they found around her neck when her body was discovered.
It looks mostly like some mark which is caused by something like a hard material, like a belt.
You think it might be a belt?
It may be a belt, yes.
Despite how many answers he's still waiting for, Muhammad is not giving up. "I will fight for justice for my daughter," he said. Jasmine Fiore was a beautiful model from Bonnie Doon, California. She made her money by working at different parties, doing shows in Las Vegas, and being in commercials. As she got older, she got a real estate license and had dreams of opening up her very own gym and training center. Her life was coming together just as she'd always imagined it. The only thing missing was a husband and a family. She thought she'd found true love with a man named Travis Heinrich, and the pair became engaged. However, it turned out that the relationship wasn't to be, and they eventually called it off. In 2009, she fell in love again, this time to a real estate investor named Ryan Jenkins. She had just finished filming a movie and came across Jenkins at a casino. The pair instantly connected, and although they had just met and barely knew one another, they decided they wanted to spend the rest of their lives together. Just 2 days after meeting, they got married in Las Vegas at the infamous Little White Wedding Chapel on March 18th of 2009. It didn't take long for the whirlwind romance to begin to sour. Jenkins was abusive towards Jasmine, and after striking her, he was charged with battery. The incident occurred while Travis Heinrich was present. Even though Jasmine wasn't dating Heinrich anymore, the pair were still friends and would hang out together. When Jenkins caught the pair kissing, he became enraged and hit Jasmine, causing her to fall in a nearby pool. Jasmine's mother would later say she knew that there were problems within Jasmine and Jenkins' relationship, but she wanted to make things work.
Well, I think she had, a big heart. She wanted to have faith in him. She wanted to give him a second chance.
The couple's volatile relationship was evident in an email that Jenkins once sent to Jasmine. "If you come back to me and stop all the craziness, we can have a wonderful life. Your forgiveness, trust, and loyalty is all I need right now. And when your love for me grows, our lives are heading in the right direction. I truly feel complete," Jenkins wrote. "I will never leave you. I only want you." Jasmine's rocky marriage would hit a breaking point in August of 2009. The pair were visiting San Diego for a poker tournament. The tournament was a charity event that was meant to raise money for the Karma Foundation. They had checked into the La Auberge Hotel, where they would be staying during their time in San Diego. At around 2:30 in the morning on August 14th, the pair were seen at a nightclub in downtown San Diego. It would be the last time she would be seen in public alive. Several hours later, Jenkins was seen on surveillance footage returning to the hotel room, but Jasmine was nowhere in sight. He reported her missing the next day, claiming he hadn't seen her since 8:30 p.m. on the 14th and had no idea where she could be. The very next morning, police found Jasmine's body disposed of in the most heartless and callous way. It had been stuffed into a suitcase and left in a dumpster. She had been badly beaten, stripped, and strangled. When police were asked if her body had been mutilated, an officer answered yes.
Your question was about mutilation? Yes, we're prepared to answer that question at this time. Yes, the fingers and teeth were removed.
What her killer hadn't thought of was her breast implants. The implants had serial numbers on them, which helped investigators identify the body as Jasmine's. A coroner confirmed this on August 18th, noting that she had been killed just a few hours before her body was discovered. Police were able to locate Jasmine's car, a white Mercedes. It had been left abandoned in West Hollywood. Inside the vehicle, there was blood and signs that somebody had roughly pulled the model's hair. Meanwhile, Jenkins had returned home to the penthouse he shared with Jasmine. He ended up packing up his things and driving to Nevada, where he picked up a boat he owned. When the police attempted to get in contact with him, he claimed he was headed to Canada to deal with some business. By the time that Jasmine's body had been identified, police wanted to speak with him more than ever and began searching for him, reaching out to the public for help.
The white 2007 Mercedes-Benz CLS 550 with paper plates is still outstanding, and we continue to ask the public's support in assistance in locating that vehicle.
Chief Thomas Monson said at a press conference at the time. Several people reported seeing Jenkins driving his black Mercedes. He was towing a boat behind him and was going towards the United States and Canadian border. Police were soon able to locate the vehicle in Washington, along with the empty boat trailer. The vehicle's engine was warm, indicating that it recently had been on, but he wasn't there. At this point, Jenkins hadn't officially been charged with any crime, but he was certainly a person of interest, and Canadian border officers had been told to watch out for him attempting to cross over. By August 20th, police had enough evidence to charge him with Jasmine's murder, and a warrant was put out for his arrest. Despite precautions, he managed to cross over into Canada before this point. On the same day that a warrant was put out for his arrest, Jenkins attempted to call his father, but because he was in the airport at the time, his father wasn't able to talk to him. At around 6 p.m. the same day, Jenkins and a young blonde woman that was later identified as his half-sister, Elena Jenkins, checked into a hotel in Canada. While Jenkins waited in the car, his sister went into the hotel, paid in cash, saying that they'd be there for 3 days. Hotel management believed that the pair was acting strangely. While Elena was perfectly calm, her brother appeared stressed and exhausted. When they didn't check out of the hotel on the morning of the 23rd, the manager decided to check on the room. After knocking and getting no response, he opened the room and went inside. It was there that he discovered Jenkins had committed. The man was hanging from a clothes rack with a belt around his neck. He left a will on his computer and a note in which he claimed to have cared for the woman he brutally murdered. About half of the letter described how much he loved her, and in the same breath, he would talk about how frustrated she made him and how he felt very jealous about some of her relationships, and that frustrated him immensely, said Sergeant Bill Kahonek. Now Jasmine's loved ones are left to tell her story and ensure that her bright light is never forgotten. Jasmine's mother says her daughter's energy was infectious.
She was a wonderful person. She was kind-hearted. She was thoughtful. She was adventurous. She was strong.
Alexis Shark, born Alexis Robinault, was a stunning 26-year-old influencer from Houston with a bright future ahead of her. She was very close with her family, was known for being beautiful, generous, and a deep thinker. She liked to travel and could make friends very easily. She worked at Twin Peaks restaurant, where she was well liked. After going through a rough breakup, Alexis ended up connecting with one of the regulars at the restaurant. His name was Tom Shark, and he worked as a consultant in the oil field. They were frequently spotted at the restaurant chatting and laughing. While they both shared a love for travel, they had many differences. Tom was in his 40s and had children, while Alexis was only in her 20s, still starting her life. But this didn't matter to Alexis, who claimed she fell in love with Tom's heart. Alexis was looking for a change in her life. She wanted to slow down and not work as much, but didn't have the opportunity to do so financially. But after she began to land influencing jobs, she started to bring in more money than she ever had before. Her life was fabulous. She was in love, had lots of friends, and had amassed a large online following. She could work from her phone and could go wherever she pleased. In the summer of 2019, Alexis and Tom got engaged, and they moved to Colorado. They loved nature and traveling around the beautiful state. They appeared happy and content and even documented their relationship through vlogs that they shared online. To everyone else, it appeared that they had everything they wanted. The pair eventually got married at a courthouse and returned to the state of Texas. At the time, Alexis had been wanting to make some new friends, so she turned to the app Bumble. While many people use this app for dating purposes, Alexis used it to find female friends. She ended up connecting with a recently divorced woman named Tanya Ricardo. They ended up hitting it off, and Alexis became a part of Tanya's friend group. They talked every day and hung out frequently. She rarely spoke of her husband, Tom. When the pandemic hit, everything changed. Alexis turned to TikTok as a form of entertainment and wasn't able to see her friends as often. When Thanksgiving rolled around, Alexis ended up having dinner at Tanya's house, but strangely did not bring her husband. After dinner, the girls went out drinking. The next day was Black Friday, and Alexis was strangely silent on social media. She did reach out to Tanya to see if she wanted to go out drinking again, but because Tanya had family in town, she wasn't able to. The last anyone heard from Tanya were text messages in a group chat around 6:30 that night. Later that night, Tom reached out to John, the boyfriend of one of Alexis's friends. He wanted to know if he had seen Alexis recently. He explained that they had gotten into an argument and she had left, and he didn't know where she was. John later recalled thinking that the conversation was odd. As time went on, Tom changed his story several times. At one point, he claimed that Alexis had taken her phone with her, while at another point he claimed she left it behind. He also later claimed he had tried to use the Find My Friend app to find her, which he later took back. At this point, Alexis's friends were getting worried. Tanya went over to Alexis and Tom's apartment and knocked on the door, but nobody answered. She eventually called Alexis's mother, Stacy. Stacy told Tanya that Tom had already called and alerted her of Alexis's disappearance. A missing persons report was filed for Alexis that same day. Her family and friends went back to work, trying to raise awareness about her disappearance. Unfortunately, her body was soon found by a public works employee not far from her apartment. She was naked, lying on the side of the road. With no visible wounds, Tom was later able to confirm that this body belonged to his wife. It was later determined that she had died of suffocation. No one knew what had happened to Alexis, but rumors soon began to spread that Tom could have had something to do with it. Some of her friends claimed that Alexis's marriage had been terrible and that she feared for her life. There were also rumors that Alexis's marriage was so bad that she began to find comfort in the companionship of another man, and Tom found out about it. It wasn't until September 29th of 2021 that a warrant was put out for his arrest. He was staying in Florida at the time with his daughter. Because this was such a high-profile case, police planned to go about the arrest quietly. But when they arrived at the home where Tom was staying, he rushed upstairs, grabbed a gun, and ended his life. Now Alexis's loved ones cling to the memory of the radiant girl they once knew.
She was so fantastic. She had a way of lighting up the room. When she smiled and when she laughed, she had a way to make everyone feel included. Like, you might not know her and you could be in the room and she'd see you feeling awkward and she'd come over and like pull you over to her group of friends and introduce you to people. And she was just such a light.
Thanks for watching. Please click the like button and sleep tight.